What are the very mechanisms your body created to protect you are now the things holding you back? Your body's built-in protective responses like muscle tension, bracing, energetic shields, which once kept you safe. When these responses become chronic body armor, they transform from protectors into prison walls, trapping you in patterns of exhaustion, restriction, and disconnection from your own vitality. These protective mechanisms become problematic when they morph into chronic holding patterns, unable to stand down or release, which leaves you feeling tight, constricted, and stuck. These holding patterns or body armor can limit your ability to cope under pressure, eventually robbing you of energy and vitality, which leads to a fatigue and exhaustion. So the information you're going to get today can help you get back your life and your body. So welcome to part 3 of this series on body armor. I'm Dr. Maureena Bivins, and I empower women with a history of adverse childhood experiences to heal the past, embrace the present, and shape their future. So if you've been living with chronic tension since childhood, your body may have forgotten how to truly relax. So this isn't just about tight shoulders or a stiff neck. It's about entire segments of your body remaining in a state of constant defense, draining your energy and limiting your capacity for joy, spontaneity, and authentic connection. Today, we're going to go beyond identifying the patterns. You'll learn to understand where tension and stuck stress lives, why it formed, and how to gently encourage its release to release its protective grip. So we'll outline the body armor map. These are the 7 key areas in your body where protective patterns typically lodge. We'll look at the specific triggers that activate each armored area, the physical and emotional symptoms that signal when armor is engaged, and the endocrine relationships, how body armor affects your hormone and energy production. We'll consider the chakra connections, the energetic pathways that become blocked by chronic tension, and the childhood origins. Understanding how early experiences shaped your protective patterns is key. So let's begin with the 7 body segments. The first step toward release is knowing why body armor segments form in the first place. Each segment corresponds to specific life experiences, physical symptoms, and emotional patterns. As we identify the segments, notice which ones resonate with your own experience. Segment number 1 is the foundation. This is the pelvic segment. Energetically, it links to the root chakra. The endocrine glands are the adrenals and the ovaries that are most affected. The physical territory include your pelvis, sacrum, reproductive organs, bladder, and the deep stabilizing muscles of your core. Common triggering experiences include birth trauma or difficult delivery, early toilet training struggles, sexual abuse or inappropriate touching, severe neglect or abandonment, chronic malnourishment or food insecurity. How armor shows up physically in this area would be with pelvic pain that's chronic and tight hip flexors, digestive issues, constipation or IBS, reproductive or urinary dysfunctions, eating disorders like anorexia or compulsive eating, bone, spine, or leg problems, feelings of disconnect or being cut off from your lower body. The emotional and mental patterns associated with this segment are persistent anxiety, difficulty with focus or follow through, feeling powerless or lacking personal agency, deep-seated guilt or shame about your body, explosive anger or complete emotional shutdown. So moving on to segment 2, the emotional center, the abdominal segment. So the energetic connection is to the second chakra, or the sacral chakra, the endocrine glands, or the ovaries, and the physical territory is the lower abdomen, navel area, lower back, uterus, and intestines. Common triggering experiences include abrupt separation from mother. So this could be a hospitalized birth where the cord is cut too soon, emotional, physical, or sexual abuse, constant fear of attack or hypervigilance, exposure to intense hatred or violence, betrayal by trusted caregivers. So as the armored segment begins to consolidate over time, it shows up physically in these areas: lower back pain or stiffness, sexual dysfunction or numbness, digestive problems in the lower abdomen, menstrual irregularities or reproductive issues. The emotional and mental patterns would be difficulty setting healthy boundaries, social anxiety or complete withdrawal from others, rigid thinking patterns, fear of intimacy or sexual connection, nervousness in social situations. So let's move on to segment 3, the power center, considered to be the most critical area. So the energetic connection is the solar plexus, the third chakra. The endocrine glands are the pancreas and adrenals. The physical territory of this segment include the solar plexus, stomach, liver, pancreas, gallbladder, diaphragm, and lower thoracic spine. So why does this segment matter the most? Well, the diaphragm is often the first area to armor, and it creates the most widespread impact because it affects your breathing. Chronic tension in this area literally cuts you in half energetically. Common triggering experiences include oppressive or controlling parenting, being shamed for natural expressions of emotions, given adult responsibilities too soon, prevented from crying or expressing grief, overwhelming events that couldn't be digested metaphorically. So how does it show up physically in this area? Well, we see shallow breathing or feeling breathless, eating disorders or digestive issues, nausea, ulcers, or gastritis, blood sugar problems or diabetes, liver or gallbladder dysfunction, scoliosis or spinal curvature. The emotional and mental associations with the solar plexus include manipulative or controlling behaviors, feeling powerless or victimized, lack of confidence or personal direction, chronic shame about who you are, aggressive or bullying tendencies, which is actually an overcompensation. So let's move on to segment number 4, the heart shield. So the energetic connection is to the heart chakra. The endocrine gland is the thymus. The physical territory includes the rib cage, thoracic spine, shoulders, arms, heart, lungs, and breast tissue. Common triggering experiences include rejection or abandonment by loved ones, witnessing or experiencing injustice, betrayal or broken promises, deception by trusted people, heartbreak or loss of important relationships. So this shows up physically as chronic shoulder and neck tension, chest tightness or breathing difficulties, heart palpitations or circulation issues, breast problems or sensitivity, arm pain or weakness, feeling like you're wearing a chest plate. The emotional and mental patterns are difficulty experiencing joy or pleasure, fear of emotional intimacy, codependent relationship patterns, self-loathing or harsh self-criticism, feeling isolated even in groups, avoiding social connection. So let's go on to segment number 5, the voice guardian. The energetic connection is to the throat chakra, and the endocrine glands are the thyroid and the parathyroid. The physical territory includes the jaw, mouth, tongue, throat, neck, vocal cords, and teeth. The common triggering experiences include umbilical cord wrapped around the neck at birth, lack of breastfeeding or feeding difficulties, choking experiences or breathing problems, being silenced or told not to speak, family addiction or substance abuse, forced to swallow emotions without expression. So this shows up as TMJ or jaw clenching, chronic throat problems or recurring sore throats, voice changes or difficulty speaking, neck pain or stiffness, feeling like something is stuck in your throat, swallowing difficulties. The emotional and mental patterns of the throat include addictive behaviors like eating or smoking or using substances, talking excessively or being unable to speak up, fear of expressing your truth, nail biting or oral fixation behaviors, difficulty asking for what you need. So moving on to segments 6 and 7, we call this the awareness centers. So the energetic connection is the third eye and the crown chakra. The endocrine glands are the pituitary and pineal glands. The physical territory is the top of the head, the eyes, sinuses, forehead, and ears. Common triggering experiences include exposure to bright lights or medical procedures at birth, hearing frightening sounds or violence, witnessing traumatic events, early exposure to rigid religious or belief systems, being forced to see things you weren't ready for. So the armor shows up physically in these areas as chronic headaches or migraines, vertigo or balance problems, tinnitus or hearing issues, eye problems or vision changes, inability to cry or release tears, sleep disturbances or nightmares. The emotional and mental patterns associated with these chakras include rigid or fixed thinking patterns, difficulty imagining possibilities or visualizing, confusion or mental fog, loss of faith or spiritual connection, inflexible beliefs about how life should be. So I know that was a lot of information, some of which may even have been a little triggering. So it's important to remember this in your healing journey. These patterns develop to protect you during vulnerable times. They're not problems to be fixed, but protective mechanisms that may be ready to evolve. Consciously working with these segments is the goal. So I've created a body armor self-assessment tool to help you identify the areas where you may be armored. So the approach is slow, compassionate, and gentle when we work with these segments. Armor typically releases in layers, not all at once. So it's important to honor your body's timing and wisdom in this process. So be sure to watch part 4 of the Body Armor series to learn how to begin releasing chronically held tension patterns. Releasing body armor will increase your long-term health and well-being. So please like this video and subscribe to my channel and download the free body armor self-assessment form in the description.